Welcome back to the news at 10. Over 275.3 billion naira has been paid to contractors working on the East-West Road to ensure the project is completed and ready for commissioning by the first quarter of 2015. Now, this is according to the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, who told participants at a ministerial briefing in Abuja that 2 of the 4 sectioned road projects with a total cost of 373.3 billion naira have reached 96% completion. He also blamed the delay in delivery of the project on funding. The ministerial briefing by the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Dr. Stephen Oru, was like an end-of-year assessment of the work done so far, the achievements, challenges and projections for the coming year in the Niger Delta region. The East-West Road, seen as the flagship intervention project of the ministry, was top on the agenda. The minister said at 81.3% completion and over 275 billion naira already paid, project delivery is definite for early 2015.
The total sum from sections 1 to 4, which is what we in Delta State, to our Napa State, and total stated it in our report, is 373 billion, 352 million, 625,774 naira and 75 kobo. The amount so far paid to date is 275 billion, 344 million, 983,570 naira 77 kobo. The third section, the old road, will be put into full use by the end of this year. While it will definitely be possible to commission the East-West Road at its source, over 90% of it will be ready for full use before the end of this year.
Another key focus of the ministry is bringing development to the region through jobs creation for the youth. The project, the minister says, will ensure peace and security in the region.
The ministry has trained over 900 non-militant Niger Delta youths. 235 of these in the oil and gas area. 270 youths as cadets and routists in the maritime industry, 190 youths in agriculture, 200 youths in ICT.
The minister said the extent of work going on in the region is still not enough to compensate for the severe environmental degradation and pollution suffered in the region. These, he said, could be alleviated by sustained infrastructural, socio-economic and human capital development and environmental sustainability. Omenogo, Nadi, Channels Television News. The federal government has announced plans to review hidden and arbitrary charges by airline operators to reduce the financial burden on passengers. Now, the Minister of Aviation, Osita Chiroka, revealed this in Abuja while receiving the report of the Ministerial Committee on Aeronautical Charges. He said the charges by airline operators and government agencies within the aviation sector need to be in accordance with international best practices. And on his part, the chairman of the Ministerial Committee urged the government to implement the recommendations of the committee.
In the next 1 week, we'll quickly come out with what will be the new rates. Some of the charges will have to go, those that we can't explain, those that the airlines cannot explain the rationale for those, we will do away with. Those they can explain, we will find out whether they're still amenable in today's world. Considering all that happened, I just heard about the story of the fuel surcharge, so we'll have to find out surcharge for what, and what is the rationale for that surcharge. So these are issues that I think will be of interest to Nigerians to create a transparency in the cost structure of the aviation sector. And I think that's the most important for Nigerians, that we should have transparency in what constitutes this cost and why we are paying for it.
The committee has stipulated in this report far-reaching recommendations to address all of these issues that I have mentioned holistically. The recommendations include, amongst others, the harmonization of the various charges and the different parastatals, the The moderation of some of the charges that we have analyzed and deemed to be excessively high. Enforcement of the passenger bill of rights, as well as a public awareness campaign to increase public awareness about the bill of rights.
Now, as Africa continues to experience accelerated economic growth, her ability to embrace new technologies will determine how soon the continent's potentials and opportunities will be fully explored. Now, this was the focus of the 2014 Africa Geospatial Forum held in Lagos, where experts discussed latest technologies and how they contribute to the social, economic and political development of Africa. Our correspondent Kelvin Obetin reports.
Geospatial technology consists of products and tools involved in the collection, integration and management of geographic data. Its immense benefit is now known widely. Participants at different plenary sessions of the 2014 Africa Geospatial Forum deliberate on a variety of topics of geospatial technology in Africa. The theme is smart governance, connecting geospatial community.
The main objective is to show the capability of Africa, how far we have gone in digital technology, and where we were coming from and where we're supposed to be. Bringing in experts from all over the world to come and brainstorm. Bringing our own technology as far as we have gotten from the GI that we have just commissioned in 2011.
With reference to land administration, agriculture, telecommunication and natural resource management, participants discuss how relevant agencies can apply geospatial technologies to enhance job efficiency.
Lagos has a lot of minerals resources. We find out that we have limestone, we have dolomite, we have a lot of series of sand materials, filling sand, sharp sand, and the rest of it. So with this kind of technology, it helps us to properly manage our search for where these resources are located.
This same technology is able to help the state identify areas that have been defined as acquisitions. It goes further to help the state know the quantum of land that has been released to individuals or families, and to also know whether they have taken more than that land or not.
Various agencies have already started implementing geospatial technology in their everyday operations. Participants will return to their respective countries with a renewed mandate to spread the message about the significant role of this new technology in addressing governance and societal issues. Kelvin Obetin, Channels Television News. First Bank.
Welcome to Business News. The Ministry of Trade, or Industry, Trade and Investment, in a collaboration with the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, have begun a roadshow on the Nigeria Industrial Revolution Plan. At a forum stage for the Southwest region in Lagos, the organizers took the opportunity to observe the annual African Industrialization Day. Our correspondent, Temple Ashaju, reports.
In commemoration of the African Industrialization Day, the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment embarked on this awareness program to enlighten businessmen on the objectives of the Nigeria Industrial Revolution Plan, NIRP. The Minister, Dr. Olusegun Agaga, began by explaining the key features of the scheme to the top executives.
The Industrial Revolution Plan has four main features. It focuses on areas where Nigeria has competitive and comparative advantage. We do have that in the area of agriculture because we have 84 million hectares of land where almost everything can grow.
The United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, is a major partner on the NIRP. The country representative, Mr. Patrick Komawa, explains how the scheme will diversify the economy.
We have worked with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture to develop what we call the staple crop processing zones. We have developed the master plan for 7 locations in Nigeria, 1 in Kogi, 1 in Badegi, 1 in Port Harcourt, in Port Harcourt, 1 here in Lagos, 1 will be in Kano, and these master plans are currently now being implemented.
The Nigeria Industrial Revolution Plan will certainly attract the interest of a lot of foreign investors into the country, but the question begging right now is how the interest of the local investor will be protected.
In fact, the local investors are the ones taking the lead every now. Even if that investments come into the country, you find that by and large, local investors are the ones driving it. So the NRP is actually for all investors, but actually it's far much more for local investors.
First of all, the plummeting oil prices means that there has to be a paradigm shift. We have to begin to think of projects that will not require importation of raw materials.
This year, the Africa Industrialization Day focuses on the development of the agro-industry for food security. The success of businesses next year might be a function of the NIRP implementation. Temple Ashaju, Channels Television News.
A marginal field license holders who haven't produced oil since 2003 when it was issued risk losing it by March next year if they fail to produce. The director of the Department of Petroleum Resources, Mr. George Osahon, who reminded operators at a forum in Lagos, says the agency has identified technical ability to handle the assets as the challenge faced by most license holders. He then encouraged them to form strategic partnerships in this regard.
Just like yesterday, in 2003, some business entities and their representatives in this room were awarded oil licenses to exploit for crude as marginal field operators. 10 years plus, only 8 of the 24 authorized operators are producing. This interaction with the Department of Petroleum Resources is to remind them the potential of losing their licenses come March 2015 if they fail to produce.
And think about it. If these fields were collected from major operating companies because we didn't develop them after 10 years, Section 16A of the law is very clear about that. What is going to happen when you keep them in Nigerian companies for another 10 years? If you have not really re-entered your wells or carried out any operational activity in the field, then there will be no reason for anybody to take you seriously after 10 years.
Rather than some of the excuses adduced by the licensees, experts, the financiers and the Department of Petroleum Resources thinks otherwise.
Even if you're going to have any complaints like that, you don't do that 10 years down the road. It is not fair. Do your homework, do your job. Some people have been there, they've done what they're supposed to do. So somebody that's given a complaint of infrastructure several years after he has gotten the asset doesn't have an idea what to do.
The issues we've had is that of structure and plan. Once the structure and the plan is right, the banks are in the business of financial intermediation. I would have no choice if it falls within their risk acceptance criteria to participate in this business.
Falling oil price in these guys presents a good opportunity to re-enter these docile wells. Above all, the essence of the drive for indigenous participation in exploitation may just be eroded if these wells remain dormant. Olufinos, Channels Television News.
Now, the Nigeria equities market ended the week on a bearish note after the oil share index ended the week at 30,763.38, its lowest level since January 2013. A market capitalization also dropped to 10.15 trillion naira. Here's Ann Wilder with a summary of the day's closing figures.
and welcome to the stock market report. Bearish trading continued at the Nigerian equities market as continued sell pressure pushed the key broad index further south. The all-share index ended the week 0.96% lower to 30,763.38, its lowest level since January 2013. Market capitalization also dipped to 10.15 trillion naira. Market breadth remained very poor, with 36 laggards and 11 gainers. On the downside were Forte Oil, Nigerian Breweries, and Guinness, occupying the first three positions. On the other hand, Total, Dangote Cement, and Stanbic IBTC were the top three gainers for the day. Diamond Bank led the volume chart with 60.42 million units. And when the closing bell rang, the volume traded stood at 390.60 million shares, valued at 4.67 billion naira, and traded in 3,680 deals. That's the stock market report. I am Anne Mwawadu.
And that'll be it on Business News. The news at 10 continues shortly.
Next on the news at 10, more injury worries for Manchester United as Angel Di Maria joins the list with hamstring problem. That's on sports. Join us again.